Okay, hello, I'm Jeff Harold with the Lake County Art League, and I'm here having a conversation with artist Michael Latala. And he does something that I don't see other people doing, other artists doing, which we're going to have him describe how he does this a little bit later. So hang in there. But basically, he does wedding portraits live at the wedding. So we'll talk to him a little bit about that. And also, right now, Mike, if you could give us a little bit about your background in art and some of the mediums you like to use.
Okay, hi Jeff. Thanks for having me on at the Lake County Art League. Yeah, so I'll give you a brief background. I didn't take art until college, and I was junior college. I didn't study art. I just liked to doodle. I majored in art in college, junior college, because I thought I had to have a major. Luckily, I had a teacher there, out of the American Academy of Art, so she guided me to go there. And after getting out of art school, I went for 3 years and I majored in advertising and design. As that was at that time in the 70s was the best opportunity to get a job. So then I worked in commercial at ad agencies in Chicago, big agencies, and Belden over in that office. I'm like a staff storyboard artist. And storyboards are drawings to show the client what their TV commercial will possibly look like. It's all concept work. We're showing a lot of ideas. And for big clients, with McDonald's, Coors, Budweiser, it's all kind of major clients in Chicago, or for Chicago agencies. And after doing that for about 20 years on staff, they pretty much got rid of guys like me and hired them as freelancers. So I freelanced for another 15 years as a storyboard guy, which was a lot of fun, but it's a very life-consuming job. You're working off on a crazy hours. I worked all night more times than I really remember, but it was fun. And actually, it helped me because it's a very compositional skill. You're like a film director, kind of. You're blocking out basic acting, not like the whole movie. But anyway, how it helped me later is composition and to draw quickly because my drawings and paintings are mostly from life. That's what I prefer to draw everything from life if possible. Sometimes with permission I can, go out of state or the people are deceased or I have even some of the wedding stuff that I'll get into later. I do parts of it from photographs. Try to get a chance to stand there while I'm doing oil painting or them dancing. Um, but the storyboards work well for me because I like to, and it's not speed that is important to me. I just think I can't concentrate that long, Jeff. So my work is mostly alla prima, generally meaning in 1 second, doing it,
Yeah.
a lot of things off story, or working from life. That is just my favorite. You never get better color if you're a representational painter. And I just love it being outside or having a model. I just love it, like a lot of people do. It's not a
Yeah.
new thing. It's been done for centuries, but it's my favorite thing. So, and my probably if I had one medium of choice, it's oil thing. But I love pastel. I love the charcoal. I've been working with gouache, which is opaque watercolor or water-based medium. So the only thing I really don't do is I find tremendously difficult is watercolor, just pure watercolor. I kind of like fiddle with it and I find it's very difficult. But I love that too. I just, you can't do everything. So,
Yeah.
um, so really pastel or oil, charcoal pastel are the mediums I work most in, and of those mostly oil. So
Okay.
that's what I like.
All right. I noticed one thing too is and you and I were talking about this earlier. Uh, is you do, and we'll see this in your website when we go there, but you do a a large variety, larger than I see a lot of artists doing. Because you find artists that'll do mainly just portraits. Maybe they'll throw in a few landscapes, but you have portraits, you have landscapes, you have still lifes. Uh, uh, it's just interesting. And I look at it from that standpoint because I'm pretty much the same way. I sort of like to do a project, I do this type of thing, and then I go and I do this type and what have you. is that something that when you make a decision that you're going to do like a landscape or a still life or something like that, is that something that just sort of a spur of a moment thing? You know, you happen to be out there, or is it something that you think about and say, you know, I haven't done this for a while, and I have this idea for this still life or whatever? How do you pick what you're going to do?
Yeah, honestly, it's a matter of time. Still life is probably the last thing I'll do. If I have time, I love to go outside and landscape paint. A lot of times with my workload and things I have to finish, I just don't have time to do it. But even with that, sometimes literally, so to answer your question, it's a spur of the moment of
Yeah,
anything. I rarely plan stuff except when I'm at the studio in Arlington, Northlight Studio, which I love. Go there on Tuesday and Thursday. We have a live model. And that's my practice, basically. A lot of these things that I'll show you are done there from life. That's the only thing I have planned. Other than that, unless I have, I've got right now, I'm just buried in work, which is great, commissions and up some wedding paintings. But I have so many. I wish there were two or three of me, Jeff, because I'd love to do more painting and try. There's a new, not a new paint that I just found out about called flat vinyl. It's a vinyl paint. I want to experiment with that. Or just
yeah,
literally, I've done stuff out of my studio window. Some land, I'll just look out the window and do some sketching or some quick painting. I'd love to do more landscaping, but it's time. And,
yeah.
but
Do you
but
ever,
I don't really plan too much.
yeah,
Um,
do you ever
I,
do a like landscapes from photographs, or do you like? I know you like to be out there plein air and do them, but do
right.
you also do them from photographs that you see, or
Um, Rarely, if I do, it's because I'll like I was painting up in Wisconsin. And it was bitter, bitter cold, and I did a very quick, small sketch from life in this cornfield, and it was just freezing cold. And I did get some photos, and I used my sketch and the photos to do it, but a little more detailed painting.
yeah,
Um, but rarely, I rarely do that because once I kind of done it from life, I'm done, you
yeah,
know. And a lot of times I'm like, well, why would I do it again?
yeah,
Or maybe I'll start wandering off there. But a big thing I've done a lot or done and failed, and I tell people now, like I'll start a sketch, say at the studio, 3 hour head study or whatever, full figure, and I have photos, and then I'll take it home and try to plus it some way, finish
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and I ruin countless. I kill the energy in it. And I'm like, well, you had something and you killed it. And then
yeah,
once you kind of lose, it's gone. And
yeah,
so now I tell people when I teach, I'll say, you know what, if you're going to do that, really just take some time to think what it is you want to accomplish by using the photograph. Because
yeah,
it's so easy. Now you've got this photograph just sitting there and you're in your studio and you got coffee and it's warm and you got music and you can just kind of get lost and just stand over that thing for hours and beat it
yeah,
to death if you're not thinking about what you're going to do. Or for me, I've done that,
yeah,
and now I know enough that I don't even do that very much. Because, uh, maybe just a little. If I see the drawings off, I'll correct it, but not too much. Except in the weddings, which I'll talk about when we get
yeah.
to that.
Okay, all
And
right.
even with the weddings, anything I paint from a photo, when I've had a commission, if I have to paint the whole thing from a
Yeah,
photo, what helps me tremendously for me is painting so much from life.
yeah,
Because now when I have this photo, if it's not a good photo, I can work my way through it,
yeah,
color wise. Color.
yeah. Okay, something you just said. Okay, reminds me of a conversation I had with another artist, and I'm trying to think of the poet's name I was talking about. Anyways, uh, a lot of times it seems like an idea just hits you, and for me, if I don't do something about right now and then, I end up either not doing it at all or forgetting about it, and or I just I start and get involved with something else, what have you. Um, and it sounds like something you're saying too is if you lose the energy for the doing the piece, like you're doing it outside, you want to come back in, and it's like I don't really. what have you. I won't want to finish it, what have you. Uh, it sounds like something that I go through, and I think other artists do, and it puts me in the mind of a quote. I'm trying to think of her name. There's uh, I think it's Rose Stone, I think, or something. She's a poet, and she made a comment that if I'm in the field working, because she was at that point she was a young woman, and she was working, in the field with her family and what have you, and she says, all of a sudden I hear this thunderous storm coming at me, and it's this thunderous idea for a poem, and I hear it coming across the field, and I feel it, and the only thing I can do is turn around and run as fast as I can to the house so I can get a piece of paper and pencil, so that when that poem hits me, that storm hits me, I can capture it. And if it I miss it, I can't grab it, it will go on and someone else will get that poem. All right. And it's just, it's just something that, it's sort of like, I feel that way sometimes too. I don't know about you, but sometimes there's just an idea and it's floating out there, and I think it's going to be a great idea. And then all of a sudden it's just either gone or I moved on to something else without, really taking advantage of it. So I don't know. That's just what the conversation reminded me of at this point.
Yeah, it's
But
interesting because you would think that's how I would be since it's kind of immediate thing with me. But if I have an idea for a painting, and mostly, um, I don't do a ton of my own stuff.
yeah.
Um, but but when I get an idea, a lot of times it has to percolate. And generally, it seems I'll hear a line in the song, and
Uh,
I'll get a feeling. It's almost like a little bubble. And it's like, wow, I want to do something with that. And honestly, Jeff, it takes a while. It's like percolating, and
yeah.
then I'm like, no. And sometimes I'll sketch just out of my imagination. And it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. And then all of a sudden I'll have it. And
Yeah.
not all of a sudden, but after a while I'll get it, and then I'll do it. But the actual drawing and painting part, because my style is not to keep working 80, 90 hours on a painting. And people do that and they're beautiful. That's just not what I do. My stuff is quicker. It's more impressionistic.
Yeah.
But generally with an idea, like I've had with an idea about a painting I've had for a couple of years, and I just can't. It, I've tried different things and it just doesn't feel right yet. And I also know if I talk about something like that too much, the talking replaces the doing.
Yeah.
So, I'll just sketch and it'll come one day. I'll get it. But right now I've got so much other stuff. It's kind of on the back burner. But I had this idea for a painting. I just exploring. It's just don't know. I think I found
Yeah.
somebody I want painting now, friend, friend of my daughter's, but I'm still not sure what. I'm not sure what the narrative is exactly. And once I know that, I'll do the painting. It'll just come quickly. But it seems like it takes a while. I rarely get like this flash of inspiration that I see the visual. It's more like, oh, okay, I want to do something with that, but I'm just not sure what it is.
Yeah.
And I have it's there, and it's like an unearthing process, kind of.
Yeah.
It takes sketches, and then I have to
Yeah.
get all the other the painting work. I have to get that
Yeah,
stuff done.
I do that too once in a while. Yeah, I had we had a show that we watched, and there was a Paul Simon song on it, and it just gave me this idea for what I would like to see as a picture. And so I tried to do the composition, and I'm sort of halfway satisfied with it. But it's one of those things that it just kept percolating, like you say, in my mind as far as, okay, I want to illustrate this song because it had an important message to me. And I keep thinking, well, how do I do this? How do I do this? Whatever. Not being a painter, I have to rely on what digital images I have, what digital products I have that I can manipulate, or I can paint with digital, products, what have you. So, I know what you're saying. I don't know how many people, artists, you really have that issue that they think about something for a while and they have to think about it, and sometimes they end up doing it and being happy with it, or doing it and just saying, nah, it isn't quite right. So I don't know. Weird.
All right.
All right. Anyways, enough of that. Okay. I want to talk about a couple pictures that you sent me here.
Okay.
And right now, we're going to look at this one here. And this is a young lady. And yeah, this is something else you and I talked about a little bit before. Is we both have a tendency to like incomplete portraits like this, where you see the brush strokes and you see the canvas and everything else, and you just, I don't know, for some reason I just like this thing. It's sort of like almost like it lets your imagination fill in the rest of it. So what do you, is that the way you feel about it too, when it's an incomplete portrait like this, or?
Yeah, I had just enough in there to make it interesting. I
Yeah.
think that it, again, this is at the studio. Um, this is a four-color oil painting from life. It's probably done in about, well, it doesn't matter how quick, 2 hours. But it's pretty simple, just her head. And I used red, yellow, white, and black. And you could see it. You get a nice color. I mean, for at least for skin. And in this, I don't feel like I needed to use a full range of colors to do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like the edit head studies where it's white left and parts are there's like breathing room around the head,
Yeah.
and yeah, time can kind of fill in the rest or not. It's interesting to me as
Yeah, I
opposed to
just,
every.
yeah, I like uh, the incompleteness of it, where you're seeing the artist at work. Basically, you're seeing the brush strokes, that are behind the painting itself. It's like,
Right,
I'm not sure if I'm
right.
explaining it right, but you see the artist at work in cases like this,
And it's a
and
small painting. I could have it right here with me. If, you know, uh, it's small. It's probably 9 by 12.
you want to hold it up and okay,
There is a bit to do that.
yeah,
Small, but yeah, I really enjoy doing the four colors. Thing. So yeah, I like a lot of vignetted. I like a lot of vignetted work. I have another one here, Jeff. That's another four color one. I don't know that you've seen this one before.
oh, oh, hang on here,
It's
let me get back here. No, I,
similar to that. It's a profile. Like
yeah,
I've left this stuff just kind of just vignetted, and the main focus is on her face, and
yeah,
this stuff is kind of subordinate to her face. So yeah, I like doing this. I do a
okay,
lot of those episodes.
okay, good, okay. And how about this one?
That one, that's a gouache sketch. We were in Paris last May, and I, I used gouache, and again, that's a very small painting. I also have it here. It's probably 4 by 6. And I just stood out there in this plaza, and it's a Saint Sulpice is the church, and this is the garden of Saint Sulpice. And again, it's just loose, but it gets the feeling
Yeah,
of the area. And
yeah,
I've been toying with doing a larger one in oil, just a little more worked out than this one. But I would definitely use this for the color because
yeah.
this is a big thing that I will get
It,
into.
is this something that you would consider as a sketch that you might do another painting from, or something, or are you satisfied
Yeah,
with it as it is? I mean, I sort of
I
like, I like sketching, sketch
yeah,
techniques. So
I do too. It's almost the equivalent of that vignette of that head study that we just looked at.
yeah,
It's not super detailed, but it tells enough. It tells a story. Uh, and so things are too noodled out to me. They get to be, it's a little, it doesn't interest me as much. It
yeah,
doesn't interest me. So I might do another one of this, but then I'm thinking, okay, why would you do it? What's going to be different? Is there something? you don't like about the drawing, or there's
Yeah.
something you didn't get in here. I don't know. So I haven't done it yet. So maybe that tells me just don't do it. This is it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
hey.
what I do want to talk about is if we could do it now, because this is a huge factor to me in painting from life. This color temperature, is the quality of the light, and I just
Yeah.
make it really simple. It's either cool light or warm light. This was a cool lit painting. It was very overcast day, and in fact, right when I just when I was finishing, it started to rain, and
Ah.
that I always, when I'm painting, always the first thing I do is determine the temperature of the light, even if
Yeah.
it's from a photograph. It's either cool light or warm light, and that determines all of my colors, all my shifts in temperature. It's that simple. And
Yeah.
if I don't do that, I'm kind of lost. But I always do it now. I've done it so much. It's always either cool lit or warm lit to me. And if I'm outside painting and it goes, days go from sunny to cloudy to sunny to cloudy, that's really difficult to paint. I know artists will say I bring two canvases, and if it switches, I'll start a different painting. And if it
Huh.
keeps going back and forth, you just quit painting because if you're trying to do it representationally, and you're using what you're seeing as your inspiration, it's really difficult to start.
That would be an advantage of a photograph of it.
Yeah,
As you talk about that, I start thinking about there's in the UK they have this show from Sky Art, and they have a landscape artist of the year. And
yeah.
what they
Oh,
do
I've
is
heard.
they bring together a bunch of artists, like 10 or 12 artists, and they pick a site, like a famous building or something like that, or a woodland, and they all paint the same thing, and then they go down. And one of the interesting things is to watch the way the different artists work. Now, one of the ways that they work is, and this is particularly also, they have a portrait artist of the year. And especially in the portrait artist of the year, you see them, they'll have like an iPad, and they'll take a picture on their iPad, and then they'll set it there so that they have a static image of the person. Okay, in the case of the landscape, they would have more of a static in the image of here's the color scheme, or here is it warm or cool or whatever. So that's one of those things that I don't know if it would help you with plain air, but I think that's just something additional you'd have to take along that might not be worth taking along. But
Yeah, I haven't done that. But Jeff, when I'm plein air painting, I totally paint it without looking at anything else. I mean, not that that's bad. We do it the other way because
yeah,
that's what I do at the wedding, and I'll talk about that when I show the wedding paintings. My
yeah,
process in that. But
yeah,
like this sketch is just purely. I mean, I took photos of it for later, but again, I don't know what I would do differently. Now you could say, oh, there's some of the drawings like on the to the left of the fountain. As we're looking at the building, it's really rough, and the windows are just blobs of color.
yeah,
Tighten that up, but at what for what purpose? I don't know. This to me
yeah. But
says, you know what? I kind of relate painting from life like music from life. When you hear it go to a concert, now maybe the guy is gonna, or the group or gal or whoever, they're gonna hit the wrong note, or it's not like a studio where they could take every little glitch out of it. But I really enjoy hearing live music as opposed to something that's done in the studio. Just
yeah,
like live, there's an energy. Unless you've painted really a lot from life, it's so easy to just not have it when you paint from a photo.
yeah.
I mean, you're outside, you're not, the person's not right there. It is different. It's different than
Oh,
painting. A
it
friend,
definitely is. I used
a
to I
friend
used to
told,
yeah. I know you and
I
I were
really
talking
do.
about this before. Is I used to photograph jazz musicians, live in the club, and in a concert. And although I do listen to jazz music sometimes, being there, especially in the club where you can actually live, you see them, you can interact with them and everything, and the music is just, it's not always totally refined like you get out of a studio, where they've masked anything, but it's just, it's the energy of the live music, you know. And I think that's the
And,
same thing you're saying here. You're feeling with
yeah,
your art.
right. And I think there was Dan Gerhardt who said, when you paint from life, it's emotional. When you paint from a photo, it gets to be more technical.
Yeah.
And I'll go with the emotional. I'll paint from life as much as I possibly can. That is my favorite. I I don't
Oh,
feel like, oh, I have to do anything else abstract. I love what I love what I do. I
okay.
just do it.
All right. Well, since we're talking about painting from life, let's talk about this one. Okay, this is
Okay,
one of your wedding pictures.
yes. So this painting was done at the Woodstock last summer or fall at the Woodstock Garden. And this couple, we went out 2 or 3 days before the actual wedding, and they wanted. We did like a little photo shoot, and they wanted themselves on this little bridge there. And we settled on that, and they said, we're going to get married outside, like 100 yards from where this spot was. And once we're married, we're going to come. We're going to get in that exact pose. You get your photo of us in our wedding gear, and then we're going into the reception. So what I did, I got there early, and fortunately, it was an overcast day, which I love. And you could see there's no real heavy shadowing there. It's a
Yeah.
very cool painting where the lights are cool, the shadows lean towards the warm. So I got there early and I painted the landscape from life.
Wow.
And I moved some things around. There were some flowers that are right next to the groom and that blue that were not there, but I wanted to balance the flowers right on the left, with some kind of red. And so I painted that from life. And then when they came, they stood there. I was right where it looks like I am. There's a little like landing, a little like land I was on. I squeezed myself in there in my easel, and it was very kind of muddy. But I painted, and they came. They saw me. I took the shot on my iPad, and then what I did, I kept working until on the landscape until the light changed too much, and then I
Yeah.
went inside and started to paint them into the landscape. And this was just an editing thing, which is fun for me. That bridge had a railing and across it. Well,
Ah,
I just and I put it in at first, and
yeah.
then I took it out. It didn't do anything. It just kind of it was small, but I still thought it's not adding anything, and I could do what I want.
Oh,
Nobody's going
yeah.
to say,
Actually, it would be obscuring
yeah,
part of
yeah,
the couple there, and the
yeah.
background stuff. No, yeah, that sounds to me
So
like a great choice. It's
yeah, yeah. And I had painted it in at first, and then before I started painting them in, and then I thought, oh, I don't want that, so I just painted it out. I've done enough
yeah.
painting that I can paint it out pretty easily. And I edit. That's the thing I love about landscape painting. If you're painting from life, you have to edit. Well, you don't have to, but it makes it easier. And I don't. If you look at this really close, it's really impressionistic. It's almost abstract when you look up closer. It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah, I was thinking of Monet's garden and the water lilies when I looked at this. The
yeah.
way you get
Well,
this painted, I mean, that's
right.
what hit
I mean,
me.
how beautiful is that? I mean, the
Yeah.
composition was right there. I
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
moved things around to add the
Uh,
composition, but it was just. And this was one of my favorite things because I got to paint figures and a landscape. So
oh, yeah.
it was a perfect day. I loved the full blue light, and it was just. And they were couldn't have been a nicer couple. They were just lovely, and it
I
was a
bet they loved
totally
it.
thing. Well, every wedding I do is fun. Well, yeah, she really
Yeah.
liked it. She cried to stop when she saw the painting. So they were just lovely. So it was very, very fun. So and I can show you when you get back to me here. I've got a couple wedding
Okay.
paintings because I will say I don't normally finish them there because to me it's not a matter of speed and I did this in one night. I don't care about that. Um, I want it. It's something they're going to have forever. I want it to be as good as what I think is finished. And actually, my wife's a really good painter. And she'll look at it. She's my quality control, and she'll say, "It's you're finished." So I'm going to show you here. This is this I did at the painting, at the wedding rather from life.
Yeah.
This painting, and now what I'm going to do is paint in figures that I have from photographs. And what I do
Uh,
is they'll ask me, like in this case, the groom's mom was deceased. And
uh,
after the wedding, the bride texted me and said, "Hey, can you put his mom and I'll send you some photos of her and what I'd like to see her dressed in." And I said, "Sure." So I'll use my iPad Pro and in Procreate. It's a very inexpensive drawing app.
yeah, I know I
And
have it.
I'll You have it, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll put
Yeah.
those figures in. I'll take a photograph of my painting as it is, and then I'll play with the figures and put them in, so I have a sense, and then I'll draw it on here and paint them in. Whoever they want. Sometimes, like I said, they'll change things and say, "Oh, can you add this person we forgot?" And that's what I do. So this is one that's what I got done at the wedding, and then this
Okay.
one is just about finished. It's not furnished. And you can see, like right now, I am looking to put figures looking up in here. And just silhouette, just to balance this out.
Yeah.
Uh, and a lot of this, some of this stuff I make up. Like these flowers, were there, but they weren't here. I added extra candles. Then it gets to be, I just look at it and look at it. And, where do I want it? Where does it need something?
Yeah.
But always, it's the bride and groom that are the most important.
Yeah.
Everything
Were
else is,
those flowers the arrangements from like the tables
yeah,
in the
yeah,
reception or something?
at the
I'm
reception,
I'm
yeah,
just curious because you know women in particular, when they get married, they love seeing pictures of not just the wedding themselves, but the flower arrangements.
right,
And
yeah,
it makes a nice scene for them if you have that flower arrangement in the picture with them. Uh, I don't know. I'm just, it just strikes me as that was nice.
yeah, and
And
simple things like these two, the two end chandeliers, the colors aren't as bright in there. I mean, it's a simple thing when you say it,
yeah.
but if I had made one the highlights as bright as I did the main one, now your eyes going to be going all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I want you to at the bride and groom,
Yeah.
and the simple things to lead your
And
eye
it,
there.
yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's basic stuff, but sometimes when you have so much in there, people
Yeah.
kind of forget
Well,
some of this stuff.
it also helps promote the feeling of depth too.
Right, right,
Okay,
right.
because that's in real life. That's what you would see is the ones closer are going to be brighter. The ones farther away aren't going to be quite as bright.
Exactly,
So
exactly. So
besides just
that's a
being a
fun thing.
compositional, it adds to the feeling of the depth of the image of the picture. So
Right, right.
yeah.
So that's the wedding. That's pretty much it with the wedding stuff. It's just kind of that simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about if we hit your website?
Okay, sure.
Let's take a look at your website here. And here you have portraits. And just give me a second here. Uh, yeah, and like I say, this is one of the things I sort of liked when I saw this is, you have your live wedding, you have your portraits, your live wedding, your landscapes, your figurative, your still life, all many things. And a lot of times when I look at an artist's website, they're excellent, but they're limited to like maybe portraits and landscapes or just basically landscapes or cityscapes, stuff like that. So I
Right.
always like to see people that are doing different things, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
But these are really fascinating, and I was going to go into it's a little bit hard to control through here, but look at these portraits, and I know we talked a little bit about this before too. I love the black and white stuff. Okay, in the
Hmm.
charcoal, and these
Yeah.
these three right here that are right in the middle here, they look like they're basically charcoal with a little bit of maybe pastel or something because I know the
exactly right.
middle
Yeah,
you can see some of the pink and the white coming in there, or the
right.
red and the
Right.
white.
It is a little
Yeah,
pastel, or I think it was just, maybe a pencil, a pink and
yeah,
a red
yeah.
pencil,
Which
very
is
lightly. And all those three were drawn from life. Most of these were done from life, and not all, but most were done from life. Uh, some were not, but like the pencil drawing, that small one of it, that's my aunt and uncle. Their
ah
wedding, the pencil drawing. It wasn't little, but that was done from the photograph. Um, the one with the fellow sitting on the pastor sitting on with the Bible, that was done from a photograph. The one next to it is my dad, and
oh
when he was older, he would just sit. He was a little bit on the mobile side, and I said, "Dad, can I just do a painting with you?" And he said, "Sure." So that's my father. It was awesome. He just sat. He was a perfect model for me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I wish
you
I
know, I
had done that, but with my
yeah,
parents,
yeah.
I actually had one of my great aunt. Uh, she was in a, a home. It was a Christian retirement home type thing, and she was there. And I went in and I took her picture and did a black and white of her, and I never regretted that. I wish I had done the same sort of thing. I have pictures of my parents, obviously, but I wish I had done something more definite with them, like I did with my great aunt, and I did my aunt and uncle. Black and whites of them at one of our Fourth of July, get-togethers. But uh, I think it's important to remember your parents, your family.
Yeah, yeah. So some of these aren't from life. The one of the little, that's my wife and my daughter when she was young.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was done from the photograph. That was not done from
Okay,
life.
okay. It says, well, we're talking about your wife there for a second. I know that your wife is also an artist.
Yes,
What does she do? What's her medium does she work in, and what's her work does she do?
pretty much like mine. She likes
Okay.
uh, pastel. She likes oil pastel, like spray pots and those, and oil paint. Um, yeah, but she likes to paint from life. She likes to do plein air, like a lot of buildings and windows and like storefronts. She's really good at that. They're beautiful
Yeah.
with the people inside. But similar styles, but they're not needled out. Um, but she's very good, really good painter.
Good.
And she's my eyes on a lot of my work. She looks at it, and I'm like, wow, how didn't I see that? She's the quality control.
You,
Yeah,
you,
but
you,
she paints in oil and
you,
pastel.
yeah. In doing these interviews, the one thing that has struck me is I'm a little surprised at how many artists are married to artists.
Hmm.
I interview
Yeah,
someone and oh, my wife or my husband, he's an artist or she's an artist also and does this. We've got I actually have got an interview already set up for January for a virtual demo, and he is I think he's Adam is probably in his 40s, something like that, I guess, around there. He looks like it, maybe 30s. But his wife, they have a website. They each have their own website, and they're each excellent artists in their own right. So
yeah, yeah.
it's sort of fascinating how many combinations there are. I have some friends that are the same way. I mean, uh, they're married. They both do art. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Are there anything else you want to talk about on this page?
yep, yep. And this is just
No,
some of your wedding stuffs. I really like
yeah.
the first. Well, all of them. I like all
This
of them, but
second
their first
one,
one's really
a
great.
couple of these two, those two were both done from photographs. This couple got married in Sweden.
Oh,
And this couple was as a friend of my wife, or mine now too, her son and daughter. We were at the wedding, so I couldn't
yeah,
paint it. They didn't want me to paint the wedding. They said, "Could you paint my photo?" So they chose this photo,
yeah.
and I did that one
Oh, that's
photo.
good.
Yeah, this
And
is an Indian wedding they painted. That was from life. This next one was again from a photo. It was sent to me. They got married in another state, so
yeah,
that's a pastel. And this was painted from life. I first in this next one. The second Indian wedding painting down there, that is the very first wedding painting I had ever done. And this
Okay,
fella,
this one right here.
that one right there, he
Okay.
saw my painting website. He saw this website, and I didn't have any wedding paintings because I'd never done that. And he said, "Hey, I love your style. Would you paint live at my wedding?" And I said, "I've never done it, but to be honest with you, I haven't done it, but I painted a lot from life, sure." And this
Yeah.
was the first one, and yeah, it was
Okay.
a yeah, yeah. This was downtown. So these were all, and look at the color on that one. It looks a little
Yeah.
dark there, but it was such a
Yeah.
beautiful. This one was also painted from a photo. Totally, it was somewhere else, and they said, "Could you do something with this?" So yeah, that was great. This was painted from life. This was a bride. I just did this because I painted live at her wedding, and I had
Yeah.
this photo, and I just happened to paint this portrait, and I showed it to him. He said, "Oh, I
Yeah.
want that. I want
Oh, that came out beautiful.
it." Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
came
this
out
was
beautiful.
another one. We were married in another state. It was given as a gift. So, but I have to update this because I mostly
Whoops.
98% I do are from like, oh, here's the landscapes. Yeah.
Yeah, here are your landscapes, and I enjoy these too. Let me
Yeah.
here. Let's do them a little individually here,
This one
if
was
I
painted
can.
in Ireland. Yeah, that's in Ireland off
Yeah.
the Kilkee coast. It's about 30 miles south of the Cliffs of Moher, right on the coast of Ireland. That is a pure fun air painting. I just did that from life in Ireland. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me you just came back not too long ago from a couple weeks in Ireland?
No, 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 that wasn't me. We were
Oh.
there years ago. Yeah,
Oh, I thought it
this was
was.
done.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Let's see. This was in Dorkout. No, Cedarburg. This was painted in Cedarburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See, to
yeah.
me, it
And this
has
was
more of
probably what?
a English landscape type feel to it.
Yeah,
You know, a English
yeah.
cottage or something like that.
Right. It's the Keeper's house. Um, and there was a fence cutting right through this painting, which I just deleted. It just didn't
Yeah.
help the composition at all, so I just took it out. So yeah, that was again painted totally from life. Standing out there, beautiful day. This
Okay.
was right near my studio in Evanston. I did this painting, and I saw this house, and I thought, oh man, I have to paint this. And I just stood across the street, and it was not snowing. It snowed, and it was kind of a this gray, overcast day in Chicago, and it wasn't too cold. I just stood out there and
Yeah.
painted it that. And actually, this was nice for me. I was in a gallery in Wisconsin, and I shipped this, and the gallery owner said, "I'm buying this. I'm not even putting this on." So the gallery owner, which I was kind of, I was honored by that. I
Oh,
thought,
that's
wow,
nice. Yeah, it's always nice when you have people like that that just,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, I
that
don't,
was really
I,
nice.
I've only had that something like that once, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was just a
Uh,
beautiful structure.
okay,
And
summer
here's
version.
another house in Evanston that I stood outside and painted this thing, and you could really here's the warm and cool aspect. It's a very sunny, warm
Yeah,
summer day, and you can see the really warm kind of cool violet shadows as opposed to the painting before, where the shadows were much warmer and the lights were much cooler. This is the
yeah,
exact opposite.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about this, so I stood in this. This was in
Oh, oh,
Lake Geneva.
you want
Oh
to talk
yeah,
about
this
that?
is a little sidebar. I'm out there painting right across the street, with my easel, and I always knock on the door and I tell people, hey, can you mind? So they don't look outside, like call the police, like what's this guy doing looking at my house. And no one was home, so I thought, well, I'll just give it a shot. I'll just set up there. It was like in the weekday, during the day. So a fella comes out, the neighbor of this couple, and comes out and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, He goes, "Oh, you're painting their house." He goes, "Oh, I'm going to tell them." And I said, "Great." And the guy called me and he says, "Hey, I heard you did a painting of our house," and they wound up buying it. So that was really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. You're always better to talk to people like that if you're doing something like that. Yeah, I know just from photography, I've had situations where I'm just doing something, and I wish I would have asked the people first, because I had a class going over in Antioch, and we were doing some nighttime work inside Antioch, in the town, and one of the students came back to me and we were talking. He says, "Yeah, I was taking a picture of the theater here. Some guy came out and accused me of taking pictures of him because he had the apartment above the theater." And so he said
Yeah,
he just talked to him and it showed him the picture he's taking, what we're doing, and he was okay with it then. But I've had that several times where I had
yeah,
one guy. I think they were. I don't know what they were doing. I was photographing. It was like a gas station, auto repair type thing, and I was out taking a picture because it was just an interesting building, And so I was taking a picture, and the guy comes walking out, and he's questioning me about, what are you doing, like, you working for the police, It's like,
yeah, yeah,
ah.
yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes it's good to just be able to talk to the people and let them know what you're doing.
Right,
So,
right.
okay, moving forward here.
Now, this
Okay,
was this beautiful place in Lake Geneva. Yeah,
okay,
it's right on the water. Um,
uh,
that's a gorgeous building.
okay. All right,
And
I'm gonna move on. We're running
yeah,
a
no,
little
we
bit
can move
long here,
on. And,
so
yeah,
uh, this
willow
looks,
trees,
yeah, yeah,
sunlight. Yeah,
nice landscape.
it was small. It was a small painting. And
Yeah.
these were I was teaching a workshop in Door County, and one of the people taking the class says, "Oh, you should come out in my area. It's a gated community and right on the lake." So I did this
Oh,
painting after the workshop, like 5 o'clock at night, and there was one right next to it.
yeah,
Another one, the next one I think was also just 100 yards away. That one,
yeah,
both. So I just did those. Um,
yeah. Door County
like,
has a lot of good views, a lot of good
yeah,
scenery. So, yeah, I
oh
go
yeah,
up there a
yeah.
couple times a year, and uh, I've got some real nice photos from up there. So,
And all those were in oil. All the landscapes you've seen are in
ah,
oil. Yeah.
okay, all right. What do we got? Figurative.
Yeah,
Okay.
figurative things. And most of these are from life. Um, the fella sitting on that wall, that was in Ireland.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a place to landscape paint. And I was walking down this road, very in the country. There was really nobody around. And I passed this fellow sitting there. And I was looking for a place to landscape paint. And I didn't see anything. I walked back and I thought, wow, that's just a... So I asked him, I said, sir, would you mind if I get a photo of you? And he couldn't have been more gracious. And he said, oh, of course. His name is Tom Clancy. I asked him his name. And
Yeah, you were telling me about him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Did
yeah,
you
it's
tell
like
him you liked his books?
well, I think I'll do it. Mine was fast enough there, Jeff, to tell him that. But
Okay.
yeah, so I did this painting of him, and yeah, I like this painting. So yeah, it was yeah. So let's
Okay.
see. The rest of these are
Yeah, just figure
and this is
studies and
those yeah. That one of the gal with the hat on, that's my wife in Ireland on the coast. That was painted from a photograph.
oh, the center
Uh,
one. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the stain
Yeah.
with the red top and
Yeah.
the sun hat and the big blown
Yeah.
shadow.
I guess she's the only
I
one with
like
a hat on.
the
So
way it looked against the light sky. It was a really
yeah.
nice image. The lady
Okay.
with the horses from a photo, and the rest were
Whoops. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And still, these are all of these are painted from life. I set up a still life. Some were demos or a start of a demo, and yeah, they're all in oil except for that bust, that bust of the girl. That's a pastel.
Hmm.
The rest are all painted in oil.
Okay. All
And I
right.
set those out.
You got some workshops going here? Do you have anything out here?
No, that's updated. I don't have any workshops currently. Um, I'm just too busy right now that I have to finish up some commissions. I
Yeah.
got like 5 or 6 weeks that I have to finish before I can kind of dive into that. And yeah, and I don't know if you want, if we have any time, you can see these. These are more behind me.
Yeah,
These,
we can take a minute
one
here.
of
Hang on. Let me get you. Let me get you up here. There we go.
there's yeah. Move this way. So these are charcoal drawings too. One, this fella. Am I okay like this, Jeff?
Uh, yeah, actually, you could back up a little bit, and why don't you move the chair?
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's fine. That's fine.
okay. So these are done at Northlight Studio. This is charcoal from life. These are all done at Northlight Studio in Arlington Heights. We have a group. They are all charcoal. These are smaller. These were really quick. This was probably a couple hours, 2.5 hours of this, so it's a bigger drawing. But they're all charcoal and a little white pastel, and here this red, no, a little red pastel. But yeah, that's my favorite thing. They get great models there. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I love drawing from life. I just love it. So, and again, these are vignetted things,
Yeah.
which are interesting to me.
But you
Yeah,
love drawing from life, and uh, I know that's one of the attractions of photography too. Is that I'm right there with the people. Now I don't really have a lot of choice. I have to be there with the person to photograph them. But it's that interaction, that to me really makes it. Like I was saying before with the jazz musicians, it's that interaction of actually being there with them, talking to them, and everything. So I
right. And
fully understand that.
one more thing, if we have time, here's another. These are more, but one thing if people I really love to do. This is Connie Cran. Are uh-oh,
Oh, you're losing it.
here, buddy. Are quick sketches. I don't know. There's a lot of places around you can do quick sketches, and I think they're, just quick like these.
Yeah,
2, 3 minutes. I think the
yeah,
really important thing, or the reason they're really good, you have to edit and you have to think big. You have to think, in 2 minutes you can't start noodling out little
yeah,
highlights and that. You have to look at the whole thing. And I think a lot of times with paintings, people who are maybe more beginners, you get wrapped up in little details. They don't think of the big structure. Now, there's a lot of ways to paint. You could start with the eyes and work out. Um, Mine is big, right? What kind of big to small?
yeah,
Even like three values. I mean, you look at a lot of these drawings behind me, or paintings, or like this. It's really three values. There's a light, medium, dark. And if you could think big like that, it sure helps, especially when you're painting from life, and especially when you're outside, because there's so much information out there.
yeah,
Yeah, it helps if you can keep it simpler. Look at things as just big shapes and big values, and then at the end, add whatever detail you think is necessary
yeah,
to tell the story.
yeah. It's interesting because I've gotten more of the that from most artists that I talk to is you got to look at values. You start off and you look at the values in the painting and the chunks and where the values, how they relate to each other and everything. And so that must be something they teach you in art school or something. But it seems like
Yeah,
everyone understands that.
yeah, right. I mean, you really, you look at this painting, and there's, there are just a big dark value. There's a light, real light, and then there's a middle tone.
Yeah,
And if you can look at that and capture that in a simple way, and then again add whatever you need to tell the story extra. But sometimes it's not as much as you think. You know. Yeah.
okay, all right, okay. I think we're here. Yeah, I need you to move over a little bit. There you go. There you go. Okay. I was losing half of you. You were getting cut off there.
Yeah.
uh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything, any maybe a tip or two you can give artists? Just maybe people that are beginning of how to actually work on a, say, a portrait, you know, how you start on it? I mean, we talked about values, but what about just, you're doing a portrait? Any tips for artists?
I think the big thing is to start think big. Look at the big shape. I even start all my oil paintings with charcoal. I just do a very simple charcoal drawing.
Okay.
Very simple, not putting a lot of lines in there. Because then, if you draw too much, especially when you're starting, now you're, wow, I love this drawing. Now I'm afraid to cover it up. I'm afraid to paint. Don't be afraid. It's paint.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, a simple tip is paint from arm's length. Hold your brush, step back. People say a lot when they're beginning. They say, "Wow, my paintings are so tight, they're cut out." Well, they're really hard edges, and I think if you paint farther away, using a lot of paint, bigger brushes, it's very simple stuff to do. Anybody could squeeze out more paint. I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
You can use a big brush. Look at the big stuff. It's like building a house. You're not going to start adding the flowers and drapes before you have the construction, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If your big shapes aren't correct, all the little highlights in the world aren't going to help. So if you get the big shapes simple, get the right value. Maybe that's too much information, but keep it simple
No, it's
and
it's
have
it's
fun.
it's good. It's good advice. So
Yeah.
okay, all right.
All right.
Okay, now you are going to be doing a virtual demo for us for the Lake County Art
Yeah.
League on the 19th, which I'm looking forward to, and I know our members
Me
are
too.
too. And is there anything else you've got going? I know we were. I've been talking to our guy in charge of our workshops here, trying to get hold of you because, I'm hoping we can get you to a workshop maybe in the fall if you got time.
I'd love to do a workshop in the fall. I'll probably do more of those. Right now, I'm just so busy. In fact, I was supposed to do a workshop out of state. I had to cancel it because of some other things that happened. But no, right now I'm just really cranking away on wedding paintings. I do occasionally teach at North Light, the studio in Arlington Heights, where I
Okay.
do all these drawings out of. I will post something like that. I usually do like 2 or 3 day workshops there on a
Okay.
specific thing ahead. So I try to keep it simple for a specific thing. But
Okay.
people could, yeah. So
Anything you
no,
got going? Yeah, anything you got going like that, pass it on to me, and I'll make sure it gets out to our members.
great, great.
So,
So yeah, I'm going to be doing a charcoal from life, correct, for the demo.
yeah, I'll let them know that. I don't think there'll be any problem with it. I think they'll enjoy that, and I will. I know that.
I
Okay.
look forward to it. Yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
I think that's about it. I'll wrap it up and say thank you for giving us the time, and I hope to see you. I will see you on the 19th.
yes,
So
I look forward to it. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks
yes.
for taking the time.
Okay. And I go to the credits now. So
Okay, thank you, Jeff.